Call this meeting to order for Thursday, December 20th, 2018 at 6 p.m. And if we can have verification of the agenda posting?
Yes, Chairman Munzer, the agenda was posted on Friday, December 14th, 2018 at 3:58 p.m.
Thank you, Abraham. And Mr. Huboy, if you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Certainly.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And if we can have roll call, please.
Certainly. Commissioner Huboy,
Here?
Commissioner Munzer,
Here.
Commissioner Valdivia,
Here.
and I will note that Commissioner Torres is absent today. He notified staff that he was going to be out this evening with his family.
Thank you, Abraham. Next item is the approval of the minutes. If we've had a chance to review the minutes from June 28, 2018 and October 25th of 2018.
There was a correction on one of the minutes, right?
Correct.
With the corrections.
That's correct, Commissioner.
So I'll make the motion to approve with the
No, second is corrected. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Moving on to the next item. Communications from the public on items not listed on the agenda. This is the time for anyone in the audience to speak on any items not on the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. When the Planning Commission calls your name, please come to the podium, state your name, address for the record, and speak to the Commission. Each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes. Please note that state law prohibits the Planning Commission from discussing or taking actions on any items not on the agenda. Mr. Abraham, any speaker cards?
We do not have any speaker cards, Commissioner.
Great, thank you. Moving on to public hearings. First item on the agenda is the conditional use permit, 2018-10, which applicant Ellen Brookshire is requesting a conditional use permit for the previously approved minor subdivision, 2018-3, and site and architectural review, 2018-7, which will allow a variation of the multifamily open space requirements. The project site is located at 221 Hawkins Street in the downtown mixed-use zoning district, further identified as San Bernardino County Assessor's parcel number, which is stated on the agenda, and this is CEQA categorically exempt. Staff report.
Thank you. Good evening. As mentioned, the applicant is requesting approval of a conditional use permit for the previously approved minor subdivision and site and architectural project, which will allow for a reduction in the minimum dimension requirements for private open space, as well as the minimum requirements for common open space for multifamily development. The project site is located at 221 Hawkins Street in downtown mixed use. The private open space requirement for multifamily pursuant to the municipal code is 100 square feet of open space if it's at the ground level, or 64 square feet of open space if it's provided by a balcony. And there's also a stipulation that private yards at ground level shall have no dimension of less than 10 feet. The proposed private yard space, as you can see on your screen, for each of the units meets the minimum square footage requirement of 100 square feet, but the smaller dimension on the yards of lots 1 and 2 is 7.5 feet, and on lot 3, the smaller dimension is 9 feet. In addition, the common open space requirement for multifamily development projects of the code is a minimum of 400 square feet of contiguous area at the ground level that's accessible to all of the units in the development. And as currently proposed, there's no common open space for each of the 3 units. However, this project is in downtown mixed use, and one of the findings in our resolution is that due to the constraints of the size and the high density requirements, as well as the accessibility and walkability, encouraging walkability of downtown using the commercial establishments, we feel that this could be lifted with a conditional use permit approved tonight. For some background, at the September 27th meeting, Planning Commission meeting of this year, the Planning Commission approved minor subdivision 2018-3 and site and architectural review 2018-7 for this project, and it was conditioned to apply for this conditional use permit to get a use permit for the yard and common open space requirements. So staff recommends that you, this I'll read off here. You review the applicant's request, receive all written and oral testimony regarding the proposal, and consider approving conditional use permit 2018-10, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution. Are there any questions for staff?
I have no questions at this time.
Yeah, just a question on, it's almost similar to a variance
Correct.
application, isn't it?
Yeah, in the past, there have been a few projects in the downtown that were residential projects that received variances, but in this project, we found that we were incorrect in a variance. That's more for if a lot has some kind of physical, like a creek or a hill that constrains the lot in a different way than a regular normal lot. All of the lots around this are relatively flat, open. This one is just happens to be small, similar to many others, so it's actually a conditional use permit. That
And
would,
with the variance, you'd have findings that, as you mentioned, but the findings, similar findings for this would be the actual constraint of the lot size, and it's almost like infill.
correct.
And the municipal code under, it's like residential, this title for residential uses and then the open yard space, it seems to me that I was looking for an exception for the downtown mixed use. I couldn't find one, but we might want to look at that in the future because you're going to get some tight infill requirements with the high density that we're looking for.
Any other questions?
No, not yet. I don't have any, anybody else?
That's just my comment.
Great, thank you for the staff report, Ms. Kelly. At this time, we will go ahead and open up this item to the public at 6:07. Do we have any speaker cards?
There are no speaker cards, Chairman Munzer. The property owner is here, but present, but there is no speaker cards at this time.
Okay, great, thank you. Any questions to the property owner from the commission?
No, but I have a comment to
Yeah.
the applicant, and that is on the southern property line. This is something that can be adjusted, but it looks like if you scale the setback to the bedroom on the second floor and also the kitchen, you're a little less than 3 feet there. So I'm just gonna give you a heads up. You're gonna probably have to do a little massaging on that because you're not allowed unprotected openings within 3 feet to a property line.
I can respond to that. The southern half is the alley. There's a 12-foot alley, and the building code allows for using the center line of alleys as a property line
Oh, okay.
in that regard.
All right, good, thank you.
Great, thank you. No other
No
questions?
questions,
Okay.
That was-
At this time, we'll close the public hearing at 6:08. And we will bring it back to the commission for
I'll make
any
a
further
motion.
discussion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion. Are you asking for a motion?
If there's no other discussions at this time, we can move
Okay,
forward
yeah,
with
I'm looking.
with
I
a
don't know if
motion.
David does. Oh, did you have anything to say?
Oh,
in
no,
discussion?
I have no further, I just wanted to say is that,
Okay, I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve use permit number, I think, correct me about the dates, the numbers. 2018-10, subject to the finding and condition contained in the draft resolution.
Resolution 2018-51, correct.
Okay.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, item passes, and good luck to the applicant. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 2, which is a conditional use permit, 2018-12, Leonard Estrada, the applicant is requesting the conditional use permit to construct a 461 1/4 square foot, 22-foot high detached recreation room with a loft in the backyard of 730 Catherine Drive. Conditional use permit can be granted by the Planning Commission to allow an accessory structure to exceed the 15-foot height limitation described in the zoning ordinance chapter stated on the agenda. The property is located in the R1 low-density residential zoning district and is further identified as San Benito County Assessor parcel number, which is stated below, and this item is CEQA categorically exempt.
Thank you again. As mentioned, the applicant is requesting approval of a conditional use permit to allow the construction of a 461 1/4 square foot detached recreation room with a loft in the backyard of 730 Catherine Drive. The proposed height of the new structure is 22 feet. The first floor of the structure, which you can see on the bottom of your screen, would contain a bar area, full bathroom, and approximately 230 square feet of open living recreation room area. And there's a spiral staircase which leads up to the second floor loft area, which is 161 1/4 square feet and then open to below. The height increase beyond the 15-foot standard for accessory structures is to accommodate the height of this loft area. If you look at the site plan, the side yard setback of the proposed structure is 6 feet, and the rear setback of the accessory structure is 8 feet, which both exceed a minimum 5-foot standard required for rear and side yard setbacks for accessory structures. And the proposed structure is also set back from the main unit 10 feet, which is the minimum standard. So it does meet all setbacks for accessory structures. The exterior of the building is stucco with wood-trimmed windows and doors and a horizontal stucco detail which runs midway along the building and helps to break up the height and the walls. And then the loft is proposed to have 2 large single-pane windows above the door and on the rear elevation, and then there are various 2-pane windows on the lower floor. The entry door appears to be decorative with 4 glass panels or potentially just wooden panels. And staff recommends that the Planning Commission review the applicant's request, receive all written and oral testimony regarding the proposal, and consider approving conditional use permit 2018-12, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution. And one other thing I'd like to note is that the applicant provided these pictures with their application. You can see in the very top left of the screen, as well as in the bottom corner or the bottom photo, there are 2-story residential houses in a cul-de-sac behind the backyard. So there are taller structures in the vicinity. It's not only single-story houses in this neighborhood. Are there any questions for staff?
Yeah, that was gonna, I'm sorry. That was gonna be one of the questions, is that the house it's the lower level, not a two-level house, right? So,
Yes.
But I think you said that there's other houses that are 2 levels?
There are other houses that are 2 levels, and this house itself, I don't know the height of the main house, but it looks like a taller structure. The height limit in R1 for houses is 30 feet, but for accessory structures specifically, it's 15. So there are other taller houses, 2-story houses, but the accessory structure being taller than 15 does require the conditional use permit.
And you said for 2-story was 30 feet?
Yeah, or for a single story, I guess. It's the height limit of the zone.
Okay, thank you.
That's correct. If the proposal were to be attached to the main unit, then they could potentially go 30 feet as part of the zoning, but because it's detached and accessory, 15 feet's the limit with an option of a conditional use permit to go higher than 15 feet. It just wouldn't be allowed to go over 30 feet, but it does 15, which is why they're here. They were trying to make it work to keep it at 15, but they just went a little bit higher, 7 feet higher, so they had to come to the Planning Commission for a CUP.
Yeah, the reason I asked that because there was no opposition of the surrounding neighborhood about having a 2-story building in the back. But if there's already 2-story buildings around there, I guess it's fine with the neighbors, with the neighborhood. the people that are surrounding close to the house.
Right.
So that, there was no opposition then, no.
We sent out a notification to the neighborhood within 300 feet, letting them know about the project in case they had any questions, comments, concerns. Let them know our contact information. Let them know the date of the public hearing for tonight. We didn't receive any phone calls or any visits in regards to this project.
So what is the loft gonna be used for? The bottom is gonna be recreation, right, according to the plan? And
Correct.
then-
It wasn't specified. I believe it could be used for a sleeping area. The accessory structure is conditioned to do a deed restriction because it is not a accessory dwelling unit with a
Oh,
kitchen.
okay.
So they'll have to get a deed restriction recorded against the property because the property is not large enough. It's not the 7,000 square feet, and this isn't an application for an ADU, but it doesn't meet the minimum lot size for an ADU. So we put that condition in there to make sure that it can be used by the family, it can have a pool table or whatever they like to do, or an extra room for a guest, but it can't be a rented second unit.
Great, thank you, Ms. Skelly. Any other questions for
And that's
staff?
just my question. I just, on your staff report, you mentioned single pane window, really? Where would that be?
I may have the term incorrect. They're just, they
I
don't
don't
have
think you
any
can buy single pane windows anymore.
dividers. I think it's
Unless
not,
it's
it's not
historic.
pane.
Or a story.
Like these ones slide, they have two sections, and those
okay.
ones are just big glass squares.
Yeah, I was just, yeah, and you answered my concern about the deed restriction, and that certainly, but it is rather small would be used for a dwelling unit, although I think that I can understand, asking for the 22 feet for the loft. I think lofts are nice features typically.
Great, thank you, Mr. Hudboy. If there's no other questions for staff at this time, I would like to open it up for any public testimonies in regards to this. Any speaker cards?
Chairperson Munzer, we do not have any speaker cards, but the applicant, Mr. Estrada, is present, but we do not have any speaker cards.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioners have any questions for the applicant at this time?
I don't have any more questions.
No?
Okay, I will go ahead and close it down for the public testimony at this time at 6:17. Any other questions from the commissioners in regards to these items or concerns?
No.
One of the things that I had questions about, and you had answered it already, was the height restriction. Which is 2 stories is 20 feet. And what I had noticed is that the houses that encompass this backyard, that almost face from every direction, they're all 2-story houses. So that was one of my concerns until I investigated into it and realized that everything that faces that backyard is a 2-story house. So that's,
Mhm.
I think to make that exception for this conditional use permit is something that is doable. With that being said, does anybody want to entertain a motion?
I'll entertain a motion to approve PC resolution number
2018-52.
2018-52, adopt conditional use permit 2018-12 with the draft findings in the resolution.
Great, thank you. I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. This item passes. Congratulations to the applicant. Okay, moving on to the next item, which is new business. Any new business?
No new business, Chairperson Munzer.
Great, thank you. Any old business?
No old business, Chairperson Munzer.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any planning department reports?
Yes, we do have 3. We can start with the first one. The first planning department report, Chairperson Munzer, is that, and members of the commission, in 2015, in August of 2015, August 27th, to be precise, the Planning Commission approved the subdivision known as The Cottages. The Cottages is located at the southwest intersection of West Side Boulevard and South Street. Essentially, it's a 5-acre parcel that was subdivided into 39 lots. One lot was for an existing property, an existing single-family residence. The property owner, Linda and Patrick Dyke, that live on the property. And then there's 37 new single-family residences, smaller lot single-family residences, and one lot was approved for as a bioretention lot. Back then in 2015, as it is now, the Regional Water Quality Control Board is who we respond to in regards to stormwater management. And so in 2015, the proposal was that one of the lots, and as you can see on the plan that was approved, lot 38, was going to be used as part of the tentative map as a bioretention lot. After it was approved by the Planning Commission, the next steps is essentially to submit to the Engineering Department for a final map. Final map shall be in substantial conformance to the tentative map, and when they submitted their final map, they found that the stormwater management could be managed on site without necessarily using lot 38 as a bioretention lot. So therefore, the Director of Development Services found the plan to be in substantial conformance, to not necessarily have to use bioretention on lot 38, but use it as another lot for residential, in part because the single-family residential units are a permitted use in the R1 zoning district, which is the district that this project is in. So we wanted to bring this item before you as an informational to let you know that lot 38 on this subdivision was originally approved as a bioretention lot, and it is now going to change for a residential unit, and taking into consideration that the stormwater management will still be met on site and meet all the Regional Water Quality Control Board requirements. Any questions for staff?
Can you, without getting too technical, let me know how the stormwater retention is going to be achieved without using lot 38?
Absolutely. We actually have the city engineer who's here, and he will be addressing that.
What they did is all of the stormwater management was moved out to the intersections. There was pavers put out in the intersections and an underground chamber built at each of the intersections. They were able to capture all of the water and force infiltration back into the ground. It works the same as having an underground chamber on a lot or anything. It just moved locations.
And that's what we're encouraging now, is underground storage. right?
Underground
Yeah.
storage on properties and using them for parks and things
Yeah.
in larger areas.
Great,
Yep.
good. Thank you, Danny.
Sure.
Any other questions for staff
I have no other questions.
for this item? Very well, thank you.
Mhm.
Item number 2,
There isn't a slide. We just wanted to say that at the January 22nd, 2019 City Council meeting, which is the next council meeting next year, planning staff will be requesting from the City Council that they appoint 2 planning commissioners to our signs ad hoc committee. Councilmember Resendez and the Mayor Velasquez, I believe. I could be incorrect, but I believe that those were the 2 council members who were appointed to serve on the sign ad hoc committee as we revise the sign ordinance. And I think that after we ask, we'll probably bring it back to the planning commission to see if there's commissioners who are interested, and we can bring that to the council as well, unless the council selects someone at the meeting.
Great, thank you.
you're welcome. Finally, we have included in your packets the Planning Commission meetings for 2019. They are basically the same regarding the dates on every month. It's scheduled for the 4th Thursday of every month, with the exception of 3 months. June, it's the 4th Wednesday. And that's because typically the 4th Thursday is for the horse saddle parade downtown. And so to encourage people to go to the downtown parade, we try to work out a planning commission meeting not to be on that same day. So that's on June, and then in November we typically have it on the 3rd Thursday instead of the 4th due to the holidays, Thanksgiving, and in December as well, typically on the third Thursday, as we did this month, instead of the fourth, due to the holidays. I know in the past meeting, Commissioner Valdivia indicated, talked about a little bit about the planning application and planning process. I know that this year, I'm really happy to have our great dedicated staff. 52 resolutions. This year it's a milestone. It's been a lot of resolutions, a lot of work, and some of these months, the packets come to you highly loaded and with so much applications, so much work, so much documents, SQL documents, all these studies, and you really don't have a lot of time to review. So one of the things that we're trying to do for 2019 is trying to make the process a little bit more, to have a little bit more time in the process, for staff to prepare the reports and for the commission to receive the information ahead of time, with a little bit more time at least. So essentially, just as a quick brief overview, every month there will be a deadline for application submittals. And so at that time, we will, like today, we met with somebody who was interested in a property in the West Gateway, a potential mixed use, commercial and residential. And so we gave them we let them know that every month there is a deadline for submittals. Once that deadline is reached, we then look at all the submittals that came in for that month, and then staff will have 2 weeks now to write the staff reports. As before, we only had 1 week. We'll have 2 weeks to write all the staff reports, look at the plans, write the staff reports, and consider the application complete, or if it's incomplete, write a notice of incomplete to the applicant. So then at that second week, we will send all the items to our Development Review Committee. Our Development Review Committee, as you know, is a committee that's made up of different departments from the city of Hollister, and even in the county. We have a representative from each department, building, engineering, public works, police, fire, and so then we give them all the applications and plans, and we give them 1 week to review. And so at the end of the third week, we all get together either here. The last meeting was actually at the fire station, because there's a little bit more space, and we review all projects. We reserve a few hours and review all projects, and then we get comments from all the different departments, and then we generate a list of comments, and we send it to the applicant. So that's on week 3. We send it to the applicant, and if the application is deemed complete, then at that point we can schedule it for planning commission. But if there is going to be something on that, if some of those comments require revisions to the plans, then we will let them know that they need to revise the plans, and then we need to receive the revisions and take them to the next Development Review Committee meeting, because we have a Development Review Committee every month. Whereas before, because of deadlines, even if they had to do some revisions, we would still schedule them for a public hearing, hoping that the revisions would come in complete and good. But we found that sometimes they were still not too good, and so sometimes we found having to do extra conditions of approval on the dais, and so we're trying to limit that, and so that's going to be one of the major changes. Once we take them to the Development Review Committee within the third week of their submittal, if any of the comments requires revisions, then we won't schedule it for public hearing. We will actually let them know what the revisions are that are required and schedule them for the next Development Review Committee. That way we make sure that everything is good to go before we schedule for a public hearing with you. That's just a little bit of a summary of some of the changes that are coming up, to have it more of a complete project right before Planning Commission. Any questions?
Yeah, I guess if the revisions were minor enough, you can just approve them without having to swing it over to another DRC, right?
That's correct. Glad you brought that point up. We were talking about, to what extent should we require them to come to another DRC, or to what extent do we say, well, there are some minor revisions, and technically we can bring them to the planning commission. So what we determined was that if there's revisions that need to be made, but they can serve as a condition of approval. For example, if they forgot to put a trash enclosure on their site, and we don't have to wait another 6 weeks for the process of that project to go through public hearing. We can put a condition of approval indicating that the project would require trash enclosure, and we would require to review the plans before planning commission or before building permit. So yes, absolutely. Yes.
Well, that's good news for us, because like most of the revisions, by the time they come up here, they're gonna be made.
That's a hope. That's a plan for 2019, because I know some of these projects, we had a lot of discussions in regards to revisions, and so those really should be at staff level and then come here. If at that time, if we don't come to an agreement with the applicant, which we always try, then at that time they can come and pitch their request to the planning commission in regards to the condition. But we definitely try to have that resolved prior to coming to a public hearing. So you'll start seeing that. But you have the agenda. Please take a look. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please call us, and we'll be happy to talk to you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Prado and Ms. Kelly, for the update. Good things coming out of the planning department.
Thank you.
With that, all I have to say is next
Commissioner
meeting is.
Munzer, if I might, because she's here, I just wanted to introduce Josie Scarcella. She's coming to the planning commission, or to the planning department recently. She's been here for a few weeks now, and she's helping us doing some filing and like helping us get organized. So I just wanted to introduce her to the commission.
Welcome.
She's doing a really good job.
Yeah, we really appreciate her.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that said, next meeting is next year, January 24th, 2019 at 6 p.m.
I have a comment to make. Oh, you wanna
Yes,
make a comment?
go ahead.
No, I just want to wish everybody a happy, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year with your families. So, we may see you before, but have a blessed Christmas.
Yes, and on that note.
I
anything
also,
else?
also chime in with Pauline, to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and congratulations to Honor Spencer, who was here tonight, and I look forward to coming to one of the city council meeting in January to offer my congratulations to the other new city council members, and thanks a lot, you guys, for working hard with us, and we're a good team, and
Yes,
we're looking
thank you.
forward to working
Thank you.
with you in the future in the
Thank you.
2019.
Us too. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And with that said, myself as well would like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and especially to thank the staff for your guys' hard work and the package that you put together for us. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
With no further ado, I would like to adjourn the meeting at 6:33.
Yeah.
Thank you.